Welcome to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil, the official Monster Jam podcast. I'm Scott Jordan, and this week we are going to discuss the state of Monster Jam with a gentleman who has his hands in literally every aspect of this sport. It is my pleasure to welcome back to the show the Senior Director of Global Operations, Jayme Dalsing, in studio. Jayme, welcome back to Inside Monster Jam.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're one of the most prolific guests on this show. I think it's 5 times for you. On Saturday Night Live, they get some sort of special as a 5-timer, so we're going to have to figure that out. But, man, 5 times for you. It's amazing.
I was promised a jacket. I didn't get it, but we'll figure it out, whatever it is.
We'll see what we got. Well, let's roll right into it. So to set this episode up for our fans, I did the 100th episode mailbag where I asked all the fan questions, and so many fans were coming in about World Finals and Expert Judge, and I went to you and I asked you, what should I say to this? And to your credit, you never shy away from anything. You said, how about I just come on the show, I address it. So Jayme Dalsing, stand-up guy, here to answer some of your questions, and we're not going to beat around the bush. Let's go right into World Finals. We introduced a new format coming up for Salt Lake City. A lot of fans very passionate about this. So let's talk about first what the decision was to make this into this 2-day format in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, it was obviously a hot topic. I'm on many of the forums, and I appreciate the fans' input. Like that's part of our job, is to figure out what the fans are talking about and what they want. We have a lot of fans to consider, though. Ticket buyers, from super fans to local fans all across the world. So we consider all of that when we're making these type of decisions. This decision really went into making both days very equal in the way of formats that you can look at, the racing, the freestyle, the high jump, and the skills. If you buy a ticket to Friday, you're going to be entertained by racing and freestyle. If you buy a ticket to Saturday, you're going to be entertained by racing and freestyle. You're still going to get to see your favorite 24 trucks in both days. I think we're pretty excited about it and the way it's coming out. We're excited about how the pairings are going to match up. A lot of created different storylines that are going to go into the format and how it's all going to come out. So we're excited about it. I know it. In the fans' eyes, there's a few things that we have to fix in this format to try to make it right, and we're working on a lot of those, and I'm sure we'll get to them in a little bit.
Well, I know a lot of fans also were asking me about the LCQ. Is that still, because that went over so well last year in SoFi. So will that return to Salt Lake City, that format? Yeah.
We're extremely excited about how the LCQ turned out. For those fans that have been around a while, we had the Double Down Showdown in the past that turned into the Showdown, and it was somewhat of a qualifier, but this is a true LCQ. Like, it is taking into account, every driver and every truck that we have out there that deserves a shot at it, right? And this is their shot. So LCQ is returning this year. It'll be on Thursday, along with qualifying, and we're really excited about it.
And we saw that story play out last year with David Olford, who won the LCQ, went all the way to 3rd place. There's nothing more as a sports fan you can ask for than a Cinderella story, and I think that proved what type of changes and positivity that we can do with Monster Jam here.
Yeah, it's endless, right? The things we can do. We don't want to change, everything overnight, and we don't want to really go into that. But we do want to make changes for the good. I think this is one of them that should turn out really well. We have a lot of things in place to be able to make both days very competitive and fair that I think will turn out well.
You and I talked a little bit off air about the fan perception to change in sports. They're very passionate, whether it's for their NFL team, Monster Jam. Change is always subjective in their eyes. So what would your advice be to somebody who's on the bubble right now that looks at that format just on paper and says this is crazy? Like, why are we doing this? What would you say to that fan?
Give it a chance, right? Yeah. And I think that's something you and I have talked about a lot. When we made that decision, a lot went into it. It wasn't just like, I'll throw it up in the air and let's figure this out. It really came down to making both days very equal in entertainment value. It's definitely hit or miss every single year, right? Like, one year, LA, we have the most amazing racing ever. Right. I'm gonna pray that we can top that someday, but that is going to be hard to beat. And then some years we have really great freestyle. The hope this time around is that we have really good racing and really good freestyle both in both days. It really sets us up for potential in TV in the future too, something to be able to show off all of Monster Jam. That's big for us too. If you tune into YouTube just on Friday or tune into YouTube just on Saturday, the fact is you'll be able to see both of our best products put out there.
And that's a lot to say because this is the biggest stage of them all. This is our Super Bowl, our WrestleMania, and we're going to Salt Lake City, which is a huge family-oriented town. We have a huge family-oriented product. It is a perfect match made in heaven.
Yeah, Salt Lake's a great home for us. For those that know Feld Entertainment, Supercross, that's how I got into this job, and Supercross has had a great home in Salt Lake City for a number of years. We've played the arena there, absolutely crushing Salt Lake, and we've gotten into the stadium in the past couple of years. So this was good for us. The people at the Utah Sports Commission are great friends of the Feld family here, and Monster Jam and Supercross. So partnering with the Utah Sports Commission to make this Monster Jam World Finals happen in Salt Lake is a dream come true. For those that haven't been to Salt Lake City, it is a dream. Like coming over the mountains, seeing Salt Lake is an absolute beauty of a city.
Views from the stadium of the mountains are the absolute best. Coming up next, more with Jayme Dalsing. Stay right where you are. More Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil, is next. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. I'm Scott Jordan. This week I'm joined in studio by Jayme Dalsing as we chat all things Monster Jam. I do want to go back to World Finals. You have a crazy schedule. You and I occasionally get to see each other in passing from the broadcast booth, and we always see that stressed out but excited look on each other's faces. Do you ever have an opportunity to sit back and enjoy yourself as a fan for just a few minutes?
Yeah, I put myself in their feet like all the time. I am a fan, so when I'm watching it, I really genuinely get excited. Obviously, I have other concerns that the normal fans don't have, when we have a rollover and some other things, but I genuinely get very, very excited. I am a fan when I'm watching the event and taking it in and taking notes, but end of the day, I'm just like y'all. I'm just a fan.
It's crazy the view that we get for this incredible show. Let's move on, because the other passionate fan topic is the introduction of the expert judge. We've seen that at World Finals. We've seen that panel come in to even out the scores a little bit with the fans, and we reintroduced that this season on the Stadium Series in Tampa. So what went into that decision to bring that into this 2025 season?
Yeah, we talked about it on the last segment. The fans are pretty vocal, and we listen. The drivers are vocal too. We implemented fan judging, and it is really what sets us apart from a lot of other sports and a lot of other entities, that we give the fans a say in it, right? And not just one particular fan or a set of fans. All the fans that are attending have a voice in Monster Jam and the outcome. But we know that some of those scores need to be evened out. So we implemented expert judging as a 50-50 entity for Judges Zone, and we think it's been paying off. It hasn't, honestly. We run the numbers every single week. It hasn't been changing a whole lot of results. Yeah. So I think the fans kind of see that, between the expert judging and the fan judging, a lot of those results are coming out the same, and but we're going to continue on. We implemented it in an arena series as well, and in the future we're going to put it back on all the series, I think. So
that will continue to be developed in this.
Yeah, one of our main concerns is that we lost fan judging over it, that they didn't see a promise in their score, right, it going to good use, but we haven't seen a dip, and that's kind of what we're mainly concerned about. So yes, more to come.
Okay, was this something that drivers spoke up about, and did they have an input on this to maybe try to even it out a little bit? I know that drivers can go either way. You're a sport, you're in a sport, you're an athlete, you're trying to win, and I know that drivers have been adamant one way or another. If they win, it's great. It's a great night. The scores are right. If they lose, scores are a little subjective there.
Yeah, they were really vocal about it. They wanted, something to even the odds. I don't know if they're still happy about it. Expert judges, like I said, are judging on some of those same even playing fields as the fans. So it might not be helping them as much as they thought. At the end of the day, I think it's at least giving a voice to the fans and to the drivers, and that's what we're trying to do.
What is your criteria for an expert judge out at these events? Is there someone that you look for that knows the sport very well? Is it someone pre-planned? Is there anything you can let us know about this?
Yeah, we pre-plan it every single week. It'll be a set person. It's not always going to be the same person, because we do want to mix it up. We are going to keep that person, behind the curtain. Right. One of the things we've learned over the years is that we want to be able to protect our employees and those people that are judging. So we want to make sure that they're kept safe from some comments that could be out there. It's important. And our staff works incredibly hard and put their hearts into it, and we want to make sure they're protected.
So for this format, a singular person, but for World Finals, will we go back to the panel with multiple expert judges?
Yeah, going back to the last segment, it's one of the things that we actually heard, from the fans and drivers is how are we going to, keep that judging consistent from one night to the other? Because the fans definitely could change. So if we just went full fan judging, you'd be looking at a completely different panel between Friday and Saturday. So we are looking into different scenarios. We are going to have an expert panel. We are going to weight it differently than in the past. It won't be a 50-50. It'll be most likely either a 75-25 or an 80-20 split experts over fans. So we really want to give, that consistency a key from Friday to Saturday, and that was one of the main concerns that we heard.
And I think that's a great decision, because when you are crowning world champions, you don't want there to be an asterisk. You don't want anything to be subjective. Yeah. So I think that does legitimize it even more. And you and I have always talked about the legitimization of Monster Jam as a sport. I think we're there, and I think decisions like this really push us to the forefront in competition with NASCAR, Formula One. Like, we are as big as it gets, and we are a motorsport.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the way we've always viewed it, and we'll continue to view it and push that way. Our drivers see it that way; they take it very competitively. All of our staff sees it that way too. So that's the future.
We are up against the break. It's time to go to break. We'll be right back with more Jayme Dalsing on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. We are back with more Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil, the official Monster Jam podcast. We are discussing the state of Monster Jam with the Senior Director of Global Operations, Jayme Dalsing. I'm glad I got that right, because I remember the summit I promoted you in my speech by accident. And you're really, no, wait. There's a lot of pressure there, man.
I don't take anything personally. You could call me the floor sweeper. I wouldn't mind.
You definitely are. You definitely are.
Every job is important in Monster Jam.
Exactly. Well, let's talk a little bit about some things coming up in the future. But obviously, before we get to the future, we need to talk about the present. What do you like right now in the sport that you have seen come in through this season that you want to continue to develop? We talked about fan expert judging and the expert scoring to continue, but is there anything else that you see really working this year that would like to continue to go?
Yeah, creativity is always kind of at the forefront of Monster Jam and where we go in the future. Every year we sit down and we talk with the drivers and we talk with the staff, like, what's next, right? Two-wheel skills kind of set Monster Jam apart for many years and really took us into the future. But what's that next two-wheel skill? What's that next stunt? Those are the things that really kind of keep us going and keep us creative. Parity is always key, right? Yeah. We've seen Tristan England sit on top of the power rankings this year, and there's so much parity in Monster Jam, and it's not just one person dominating every single year. So we like to see that. We like to see some of our new talent coming up and crushing it.
We see some of these young drivers, MJ Solorio, Fernando Martinez, that are literally were part of this video game community, the Rigs of Rods community, that are now in the power rankings. How cool is that we are sitting here, talking about a sport where kids right now out there today playing their video games in 10 years, 5 years, whatever, could end up being one of the 20 top superstars in the sport.
Yeah, chase your dreams. I think you'll hear from every one of those drivers. Armando Castro, too, just a super fan, and he'll tell every fan about it. He's a super fan that got his shot and took advantage of it. Everybody's encouraged to, take their shot and see where they go with it.
So I get this question a lot, and I'm not the one to answer this. If anybody wants to ask me how to become a host in Monster Jam, I'm happy to help you. But I'm not the one to talk about how to become a driver or a technician. And I get that so much in my DMs. As far as chasing your dream goes, what would you tell somebody that would reach out and say, hey, I really want to be a driver here? What is the easiest pathway? Not that there is an easy pathway, because you have to earn it, but what would that pathway be in your eyes?
UNOH is obviously that key goal. That's where we try to push people. Jamie Sullivan is a great example of that, coming through that system and becoming a great driver, right? So UNOH is by far the number one way to go and get into driving.
Okay. Ramped Up the Monster Gun made a huge splash 1 year ago. I had you on the show. You were live from the UK talking about it, which was awesome. We haven't seen that here in 2025. So some questions about the future of the Monster Gun. Will we see it again? Will it be bigger, badder, and better than ever? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we look to perfect that thing. We love what it can do for non-dirt events. It was absolutely groundbreaking when we put it out there. The few events that we were able to put on last year should be returning this summer, so we're excited about those competitions coming back on board, and we're looking to expand internationally. Right now, it's something that'll get us in the door of venues that don't want dirt internationally, and I think that's a big thing for Monster Jam.
And we saw a 2024 huge year for the return of Marvel to Monster Jam, and we talked about that as well on Inside Monster Jam. We did the big 3 October events, and we see the Marvel trucks now. Brandon Arthur has done a great job moving from Iron Man to JCB Digatron, but we saw some of those drivers really excel with Marvel. So is that Marvel Monster Jam thing, is that something that's going to continue throughout the future?
Yeah, it's here to stay for the foreseeable future, and we look for expansion in years to come too. I do believe that the 3 events that we did in the fall were great for Marvel and for Mosh Jam too. We'll see if there's anything like that in the future. But we love having them on board, and internationally, it's doing a great job.
Well, I have you here. Let's talk about the always popular Sam Boyd Stadium, which is another topic that was in the questions. I did an entire episode on this show. I literally had people from UNLV here talking about the future. It was recently announced in the media that Sam Boyd Stadium has been sold finally to Clark County, where Las Vegas is located. Their plans up in the air right now. When I had Mike Newcomb on here, he said if that did happen, he felt it would be turned into some affordable housing out there, maybe a park for families and kids. Where do you see the future of Sam Boyd Stadium now that the county owns it?
Yeah, I don't have any actual insight. We've had talks with the city. We've had talks with the stadiums and arenas in that city too. I do know all the businesses being pushed to the new football stadium, which makes a ton of sense, right? They built that thing for a reason. I do not see us going back to Sam Boyd. And I believe me, of all people, I've spent a lot of time there between Supercross and Mosh Jam, and I love that place. It holds a place in my heart too. But I don't foresee Mosh Jam going back there.
I don't even know what the current state of that stadium is. I know they spent a lot of money to do the upkeep on it. It still has to look presentable, but I mean, it hasn't been touched. It's just sitting there.
Yeah, and I think that's what hurts the fans the most. They see it empty. They want Mosh Jam in it. They see the glory days, and believe me, I do too. But it's Mosh Jam, I think, has grown, and that stadium is they pushed everything over to the
right.
football stadium.
And we have a relationship with Thomas and Mack Center and UNLV, so we're still over there. But I want to ask you, and if this comes off the cuff, I apologize. But we do have Allegiant Stadium, which you and I have talked about, and then there are the rumors, not so much rumors, but the plans to build the athletic stadium near the Strip, right off the Strip. So do you see us expanding our future in Las Vegas outside of the Thomas and Mack Center at all?
Yeah, I do. We continue talks. Our routing and tours department talks with Allegiant a lot. We did a visit there. We think it can happen. We just got to make the deal right. So eventually, someday we're going to make it in there, and it'll be great. But Thomas and Mack for now is absolutely awesome.
What are you looking forward to the most as we move into Salt Lake City with World Finals? Obviously, when we talked about the format changes and the LCQ and all the surprises and the grandest stage of them all and all the hoopla, but what are you looking forward to? If you could take Jayme Dalsing, the fan, and set him aside from Jayme Dalsing, the operations manager, what would you look forward to the most there?
We're excited. We do have 2 stunts coming on that'll be before the event. So the 2 stunts that we're working on are pretty fun. That they're something that maybe the crowd won't expect necessarily. We have something that should be bigger than life, which is absolutely amazing. So the stunts are definitely one thing. The track is going to be amazing. We will be taking the track into the stands again. This way in a different format. We're not going to be starting in the stands. We'll actually be racing into the stands.
Oh, wow.
Which is a new thing for us, and definitely in that stadium, but for World Finals too.
Okay, so we got a couple of nuggets there, racing into the stands, and some surprises maybe for the stunts. Is there now having you on here is amazing. You and I have a great relationship. The fans love it because this is where they hear from you directly some cool nuggets. But we're not even close to being done with 2025 yet. World Finals is on deck, but there's still so much more to come. Is there anything that you can offer to the fan, a smidge of a nugget that maybe would give them something exciting off the cuff here to look forward to?
Just more Mosh Jam action.
Yeah.
I think we try to, especially once the season starts, we try to stay consistent and keep things going. There's a ton to be excited about in Mosh Jam right now. If we could just have Weston Anderson figure out maybe not walking away so early, man, like that would be a huge benefit to us.
Yeah.
But he's walking away with it, and he deserves it. The other series have a lot of parity involved, and those are the things I'm looking forward to the most.
Now, if only he could figure out a way to walk away with the world championship as well, and he knows that. I've talked to him. I think Weston has had the most dominant start in Monster Jam history, and my man has not stepped up to the plate at World Finals.
Compare that to Tyler Meninga, right?
Correct. Yeah.
You know, Tyler had his shot at the World Finals a number of years, absolutely dominated on the Arena Series and is doing great in the stadiums. It took him a while, though.
Yeah.
Those things don't just fall off trees, and I think that speaks to how hard it is to win a World Finals championship. This could be his year.
It'll come. He'll have multiple by the time, and he'll shut me up, as do they must. Coming up, your fan questions for Jayme. That's next on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. We're back with more Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil, with a big announcement. Monster Jam fans, if you want frames like mine, we've teamed up with Zenni Optical to give you the best selection of sunglasses, eyewear, prescription sunglasses, you name it, we got it. You can use the code MonsterJam at Zenni.com and protect your eyes and get frames like mine. So visit our friends at Zenni. All right, Jayme, it's time to put you on the hot seat with some fan questions. Are you ready?
Ready.
Here we go. Dialed Up Racing is asking, what has been your greatest Monster Jam achievement so far?
I want to say it's a number of things. Judges Zone has been huge for the sport. You know, that was one of the things that I worked on with our digital and brand team to make happen. That was a big one for us. And then I think skills, just the way that we've put together skills as a team and made that a thing is huge for the sport.
Brady Hold Twos goes, what goes into creating a point series lineup? So beginning of the year, when you guys are trying to put the lineups together, what are you thinking there?
Yeah, Keith Speller does an amazing job kind of laying it all out and putting the puzzle pieces together. It's like a puzzle. You know, you put one piece out of place and it just doesn't work, and you know, he'll put it all out there and we'll all sit together and figure out, you know, what pieces can move and go together. But getting back to that parity is huge, right?
Yeah. Monster Jam Kid asking, how did it feel doing Arena Cross and Supercross and the other Feld properties before you came to Monster Jam? So long history for you.
Yeah, you know, it made me well-rounded. I even worked on one of our Marvel properties as well with Feld. So, you know, it's made me well-rounded, and I appreciate every opportunity. But I've done every job too. You know, everywhere from sweeping the floors, driving the trucks. You know, I've tried to do everything out there just so I know what's up. You know.
This one's an important one. Scott Jordan MJSX is asking, will I ever have a chance to drive a truck?
A truck? Maybe a truck, a monster truck, or just a truck?
Just
yeah,
any
pickup truck, hop in your dad's truck. It's good.
Just throwing that out. We're just throwing that out.
Maybe there's so you're saying there's a chance.
One lap, one time, one chance. All right. Jayme, thanks so much, man. Been a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
See you for number 6 next time. As for you, I'll see you right here next week with Mike Christensen and Adam Entignap on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil.